Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and it's time to deviate from all of this football talk and do a little basketball talk. Well, actually, Wednesday is ACC tip-off in Charlotte, so we had a lot of basketball coverage for you. And we are about a week and a half away from the Tar Heels starting their basketball season. So we've got a ton of basketball stuff coming for you between now and the opener. So make sure you stay not just on our channel here, Tar Heel Illustrated on YouTube, but head on over to TarHeelIllustrated.com and you have access to everything. And a lot of it's going to be premium content. So you have to be a subscriber, and it's just $8.33 a month for a 1-year premium subscription. And what comes with that also are our message boards, which our premium message boards are awesome. They're usually respectful. There's some spatting going on every once in a while. There's some very thoughtful debate that goes on. And one of them right now is about who's going to start in basketball, how the bench is going to be used, and all that stuff. So if you're a diehard Carolina fan, guys, it's less than the price of a numbered meal to drive to, and you can have access to all of that every month. So make sure you go on over there, just $8.33 a month. Quick reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. We're very excited to continue that relationship with them. They've been doing stuff with us since August, and they're going to do it through the end of the football season, and we'll see what happens after that. We'll have a little something for you from them coming up here in a few minutes. So the topic of today's show is one of my favorite topics. I know that sometimes in my career, when a kid's gotten to his senior year, there's two ways to look at things. We say, man, that happened fast. Or, gosh, this guy's still around. And it's not a bad thing when you say that. It's just that you've talked to them so much, you've seen them play so much, you've been around them so much. And by the end of their senior year, it's like, okay, well, he's moving on. But because of COVID, we're getting a fifth year for a lot of guys. And Armando Bacot is back for a fifth year. And I'm telling you, everybody in the media is happy because Armando is a phenomenal quote. He can be kind of silly at times, but there's some seriousness in that silliness, which is one of the reasons why I like him so much. And he is a go-to guy. Man, when they lay an egg, Armando's going to tell you they laid an egg. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to give you player speak where, well, we just got to get back in the gym and work hard and we got to get focused. No, he doesn't. He'll say some of those things, but he won't do it like he took it out of some pre-programmed talk to the media class. Armando calls it like it is. So I wonder what kind of comments Armando is going to make throughout the course of this year when asked about his performance. What could people expect from him this year? He's got an opportunity to etch himself in the history books, in the stat books that people are going to read 20, 30 years from now. It's going to make him really look good. For an example, there's a young reporter on my staff that I say, hey, read these stats. Go back and read the top 100 scores of all time in Carolina history. Go look at an immediate guide, the top 50 rebounders, the top this, the top that, double doubles, etc. And it's someone who's not on our staff now, used to be. And he said, man, that Billy Cunningham guy was pretty good. And he didn't know anything about Billy Cunningham. And I said, yeah, he was damn good. Those stats don't lie. What's interesting is in 20 or 30 years, some young journalist is going to get a Carolina basketball media guide, and he's going to look at all these numbers, and that damn Armando Bacot's going to be up there all over the place. He already is the all-time leading rebounder. He could be the third all-time leading scorer at Carolina by the time he leaves, and he could hang a banner of some kind, and he could get his jersey up in the rafters. If he does all those things, he's really going to be remembered as one of the all-time greats 20, 30 years down the road. That doesn't mean I'm saying he is that, because I think Armando has been a really good player. I'm not sure I would compare him yet to guys like Perkins. I'm not sure I would yet compare him to Brad Daugherty at the end of his career, or some of the other bigs, and Antoine Jameson or Hansbrough or Zeller or some of those guys. But he's still got another year. For example, Bryce Johnson was an awesome senior, but no one knew in November or late October that Bryce was going to be that awesome that year. So we don't know what Armando's going to be like. But I'll tell you this. When I saw him a couple weeks ago and I talked to him, I saw him at practice and I talked to him before practice when we had some interviews. First thing I said to him when I went up to him is, man, you look different. He did. Face looked thinner. He looked more chiseled, and he's out practicing. And when he's out practicing, he had the shirt tucked in. He looked good. I know that some people that saw him at live action said the same thing. Some of you will get a chance to see him Friday night in the exhibition game. You're going to notice that right away. And he's a little quicker. Some of the stuff that we saw early in his game last year, I think we're going to see more of this year because the guys around him are going to be, they're going to have to be guarded as a collective whole. So he's going to get more one-on-one situations. He's really good at putting a guy on his hip. And if he gets to put his guy on his hip and doesn't have the immediate drop down, going to have some chances to really post some significant numbers. And I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. So we can expect that from Armando. But what else can we expect? Is he going to be better defensively? He's had issues in his career with that ball screen and rolling back, recovering defensively, but he looks quicker. Maybe that's the missing link. All he has to do is be a pinch quicker, and maybe that's the difference between allowing a layup and contesting a layup, or not even or having a guy have to kick the ball back out, or not even get it. What about running the floor? I think this team's going to run more. Roy Williams was almost maniacal about his big men going baseline to baseline. I say that with a chuckle. I'll never forget watching Tyler Zeller just go baseline to baseline. Man, he got down the court as quickly as any big Roy ever covered at Carolina, ever coached at Carolina. It was the way it's supposed to be done. I'm not saying Armando is going to be Tyler Zeller getting up the court, but they're going to run more. And Armando is going to need to get up the court. And if he can get up the court and get posted early, it's not so much the secondary break, but it's the quick entry before settling into an offense. But after they pull back from an actual fast break, I think he's going to have a lot of scoring opportunities there. And the other thing I want to get into in just a minute, which I think might be the most important part of Armando's game that we see this year. But before I get into that, let's go ahead and hear a word from Underdog Fantasy.
Yes, guys, we are so excited to be partnered with Underdog Fantasy. And we decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry right now as well. And Underdog Fantasy has so much to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. And you can 20x your money by going just 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code HEEL, HEEL, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with that promo code HEAL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
Okay, so what might that be? Maybe the most important thing from Armando? Leadership. Now, Armando is a vocal guy, but vocal doesn't always mean leader. And I'm not saying Armando hasn't been a good leader. I just think sometimes it's a challenge when you have guys that are hard to lead. And I'm not going to cast anything on anybody that was there before. I think sometimes it's the environment. I think it's sometimes things are going a certain way and you have to kind of work within yourself before you can lead. I think that was a case last year with everybody in that roster. They just had a hard time with it. I think in year 5, with all the things that he can achieve personally and that this team potentially can achieve, which is what he wants most. He wants to hang laundry. And if they do hang laundry, he's probably going to do something significant enough where his jersey gets up in the rafters, which he really, really wants. He's told me a few times, absolutely wants to have that happen because it can only happen through team success, and he knows that. So I think we're going to see a leader. I think we're going to see a guy that is still silly because that's his personality. And I say that in a good way. But I think we're going to see a little bit more serious side. I think when he needs to smack a fanny in the right way, he's going to do it. And when I say that, I'm talking about something happens on the floor, dead ball, you go over to a guy, give him a little tap, say something like a verbal tap, and you get his mind right and know that you're there for him. It's something that Cedric Gray on the football side of things has mastered. He's become sensational at that. Armando could be that guy in basketball this year. If he is that guy and his game goes the way I think his game is going to go, I think it takes his team up another notch. I really do. Because Cormac Ryan has got the leadership stuff. But if you've got the fifth-year guy, the guy who is atop everybody that's ever played there in rebounding and is going to end up higher than most everybody that's ever played there in scoring and gets that fifth year, the fifth year that so many dudes before him didn't get, if he adds that element of leader, it's going to be so important. It's going to be such a huge part of this basketball team. And it would be really fun to watch happen as a journalist, because watching the evolution of Armando has been fascinating. From the guy as a freshman who battled through injuries and, as he called it, voices in his head, to the guy he is now. Very, very smart guy, very shrewd guy, totally aware, but he wants to win. And I know he wants to be more of a leader. And that is what I think people can expect from Armando this year. And if that happens, he will have absolutely maximized on what he can do at North Carolina. And the chances are this team has an opportunity to play very, very meaningful games late into March and maybe beyond. There's a lot of parts there to think that that's possible. But the guy who's been around long enough, the guy who's going to be in the history books more than anybody else in this roster, he needs to be a next level dude in all those areas. If he is, it's going to be a really good season with the Tar Heels. And it'll be very satisfying to see a guy like Armando achieve that. So that's what I think Carolina fans can expect and maybe should expect this season from Armando Bacot. If you have huge expectations for Armando, if you think he's going to have a massive year in all the areas I outlined, go ahead and click like on this video. If you hope he does, click like as well. Make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button to our channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time we upload a video. And don't forget, guys, going over to our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com, just $8.33 a month, and you can be a Tar Heel insider. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this show, and I will be back tomorrow with another Daily Drop. Thanks.